G'day guys, my name's Dave and welcome to another Guitar Zero to Hero song tutorial. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to play the studio version of Gravity by John Mayer, and there's a lot of excellent guitar licks to learn in this lesson. Now, if you're a beginner at guitar and you want to learn a more simplified acoustic strummed version, then I've got a lesson for that. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Now, in terms of tone, I've recorded everything in this lesson using the Boss Katana 50 Mark II. If you want to check out the tone patch, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. But basically, I'm just using a Strat here. I'm using the neck pickup. I'm using a clean amp channel with a clean boost pedal and some reverb. And in terms of the volume knob, I've got it dialed at about 8. Now, if you want to master your chords, then be sure to head over to guitarzerotohero.com to pick up my free guitar ebook. All right, let's jump into the lesson. Okay, so first off, I'm going to teach you how to play the rhythm. So let's start with the intro, and there's 2 lines of tab here. So we're going to start with a G chord. To play this G, it's similar to an easy F chord, but we're going to shift it up 2 frets, and you'll use your thumb to reach over the top and hit the 3rd fret of that 6th string. And ideally, your thumb will hit that 5th string as well. Just touch it so that it'll be muted. So we can strum the full G chord like that. So after that, we're then going to go to the 7th and 8th frets of the 3rd and 2nd string. You're going to hit those 2 strings and hammer on quickly with your ring finger onto the 9th fret of the 3rd string. Lift your ring finger, hit those 2 strings again, back up to 9th, and then bar across the 7th fret of the 4th and 3rd strings and hammer on to the 9th fret of the 4th string. So that riff. And in total. Then we have 3 notes to end this bar. It's just 5th fret of 5th string, 7th, and then 5th fret of the 4th string. And then you'll hit the 7th and 5th frets of the 4th and 3rd strings, but then slide them up 2 frets. And then back down. So that lick. And then we'll bar across the 7th fret of the 5th and 4th strings, hit them and hammer on to the 7th fret with your ring finger of the 5th string. And so far. And then for the next riff, 5th fret of the 4th string, and then we're going to do that slide up to the 9th and 7th again, and back down to 7th and 5th. And then to end this line of tab, we're going to slide up to the 7th fret of the 5th string, 5th fret of the 4th string, and then 7th fret of the 4th string. Like that. And for the first line of tab. For the second line of tab, we're going to hit this G chord again, hold that out for the full bar, and then for the next bar, we go back up to this shape here. We're going to hit just the 7th fret by itself, and then the 9th and 8th together. And then after that, the 9th and 7th like this. So. And then bar across the 7th fret of the 4th and 3rd strings. You're going to hit these 2 strings and then hammer on quickly to the 9th. Then lift your ring finger back down to 7th fret of the 4th string and then 5th fret of the 4th string. So that bar. Then we'll get into this shape. So bar your index finger across the 4th, 3rd and 2nd strings. Ring finger will be on the 7th fret of the 5th string and pinky will go on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. So for this, we'll start by hitting the 5th and 4th strings. And then 4 notes here, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, for that bar. And then for the final bar, 5th, 3rd, 4th, 3rd and 2nd together, and then end on the 4th string. So the last 2 bars. And that's it for the rhythm in the intro, which will sound like this all together. Then we get to verse number 1 for the rhythm, and we're going to start with this G chord shape. Then for our phrase, we're going to hit the 2nd and 3rd strings in this shape. Then with your ring and pinky finger, go onto the 5th fret, lift them, and then hit the 5th and 4th frets of the 4th and 3rd strings. So, and then we'll strike the top 4 strings in this G shape, and then just mute everything out after you strike that, like that. And in total for the first 2 bars. And then for our next bar, we'll just slide up to the 7th fret of the 5th string. Then for this next lick, bar your index finger across the 5th fret of the 4th and 3rd strings. We'll hit those 2 strings, then ring finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string, hit that twice, and then shift this whole shape up 2 frets, back down 2 frets, and then lift your ring finger, and then shift your index finger up 1 string. So we're now barring across the 5th and 4th strings. I'm going to hit the 5th and 4th strings and hammer on with your ring finger onto the 7th. Then lift your ring finger, hit those 2 strings, and then hit the 7th fret of the 6th string and slide down to 5th. So in total for the last 2 bars. And then to start the next bar, we'll get into this G chord shape and you'll hit the bass note of that G chord shape. So again, for the last 2 bars of the first line of tab. And then we're going to strike the top 4 strings of this G chord. For the next bar, we'll strike the top 3 strings. Then with your ring and pinky finger, put them on the 5th frets of the 1st and 3rd strings, whilst keeping your index finger here. And then go back to our G shape. So in total for the first 2 bars. For our next section, we'll bar our index finger across the 5th frets of the 5th and 4th strings, hit those 2 strings and hammer on to the 7th with your ring. And then hit the 5th string, hammer on to 7th, hit the 4th string, and then do 2 of those hammer-ons. Last 2 bars. And that's it for verse 1, which sounds like this all together. Okay, next we get to the chorus, and the shapes in this chorus are a little bit tricky, but give it a go anyway. So we're going to start with an A-7 chord shape. So you're going to bar your index finger across the 5th frets of the 3rd, 2nd and 1st strings. Ring finger goes onto the 7th fret of the 4th, and pinky finger goes onto the 8th fret of the 2nd string. Now the arpeggiating that I'm showing in the tab is just a suggestion. You could technically just arpeggiate any note here, and as long as it's in time, it should sound okay. But for this picking pattern, we'll go 4th string and then 2 quick notes, 2nd and 3rd, and a group of 6 notes, which goes 4th, 2nd, 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So in total. We're going to play that through twice, and then we'll go to a D7 chord shape. Now this D7 chord shape's a little tricky, a bit of a stretch, but just see how you go. So middle and ring finger on the 5th frets of the 5th and 3rd string, index finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string, and then pinky finger on the 7th fret of the 2nd string. So we're going to strum these middle 4 strings, and then we have a run of 5 notes. So 5th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, and then back to 3rd. So then for the next bar, we'll strum it again, and then 4 notes here. So 4th string, second, third, and back to fourth. Now, if that D7's too hard, then you can just play a D7 like this. And you can just arpeggiate it any way you want, as long as it's in time, as I mentioned previously. Then we'll go to a G minor shape. Now to play this, ring and pinky on the 8th frets of the 4th and 2nd string, and then middle finger on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. We'll just strum these 3 strings, and then 4 notes here, so 4th, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, and then strum the chord again. So that bar. Then we'll go to an E flat major 7 shape. So middle finger on the 6th fret, index finger on the 5th fret of the 4th string, and pinky on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. So we'll hit those 3 strings, then the 5th string, and then 2 quick notes, which is the 4th and 3rd string. So then we'll go back to our D7, and it'll be exactly the same as that final bar in the first line of tab. So, and then we'll end this chorus by strumming that D7 again. So that's it for the chorus in total, which sounds like this. Again, you don't have to arpeggiate the chords exactly as I've done it. You can just play the chord shapes and arpeggiate any strings you want, as long as it's in time with the drum beat. Next, we move on to verse 2, and we're going to start with this G chord shape. So strum that, then hit the 2nd and 3rd strings. Then we're going to hit the 4th string, then the 2nd and 3rd again. Ring and pinky go into the 5th fret of the 3rd and 2nd strings. Then back to our original position. And so far. And then we have 2 quick notes here, 5th fret and 4th fret of the 4th and 3rd strings. And then quickly before the end of this bar, we'll hit the 5th fret of the 3rd string. And in total for the first 2 bars. Then we'll slide up to the 7th fret of the 5th string. And then 5th fret of the 4th string, then 5th fret of the 5th string, and quickly we'll slide this shape up to the 7th and 9th. So, then we'll hit it again, down 2 frets, and then hit it again, and that ends that first line of tab. So in total. Then for the next line of tab, we'll go to this G shape. Start with the 5th fret of the 4th string, and then 3rd string, and then 1st and 2nd together. So then you'll put your ring and pinky finger on the 5th frets of the 3rd and 1st string. Just mute the 2nd string with your index finger, and you're going to slide up, slide down, and slide back up and back down. So. And then index finger on the 3rd fret, and then middle finger on the 4th fret. We're going to hit that shape, then slide up to 7th fret of the 5th string. So all of that in total. Then hit the 5th frets of the 3rd and 4th string. Then get into this shape and slide up to 9th and 7th. And that bar in total. For the next section, bar the 5th and 4th strings, hammer on with your ring finger onto the 7th. And then we get into this shape. So pinky finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string, strum that. Then pinky comes down 1 fret to 7th, strum that, and then lift your pinky finger and strum this. So the second line of tab. and the second verse in total. After the second verse, there's another chorus, and then after the chorus is a solo section. So for our solo section, we're just going to be playing chords really. So we'll play our G chord shape like this, hold that out for 2 bars, and then go to a C chord shape, which is just the exact same shape up at 8th and 10th frets, and hold that out for 2 bars. And we're just going to do that continuously for the solo section. Then after the solo section, there's another chorus, and then we get to verse number 3. To start verse 3, we'll hit this G chord, and then there's a 7-note run. So 4th fret of the 3rd string, 5th, 4th, 5th fret of the 4th string, 5th fret of the 5th string, and then down to 3rd and 2nd fret. So that 7-note run, and the bar. For the second bar, we'll hit the G chord again, and then take your ring finger and put on the 5th fret of the 3rd string and hit the top 3 strings. And we'll just mute after that. For our next phrase, we'll slide up to the 7th fret of the 5th string, and then 5th fret of the 4th string, and then we'll take this shape down 1 string and slide it up 2 frets to 9th and 7th fret, and back down 2 frets and hit that twice. So that phrase. We'll do that again. Then 4 notes here, 5th fret of the 4th string, 7th fret of the 5th, 5th fret, and then down to 8th fret of the 6th string. So, and then there's 4 quick notes to end this bar, so 5th and 7th of the 5th string, and then 5th and 7th of the 4th string. Like that. So that full phrase. And the first line of tab in total. Then for the second line of tab, we're going to go to this G shape, hit the bass note, and then the top 3 strings. Then with your ring and pinky finger, go to the 5th fret of the 1st and 3rd string. Then we'll hit it again, but this time have the 2nd string muted, so you don't need to push down that 3rd fret. When you hit it though, we'll slide up to 7th, hit that shape again, slide back down to 5th frets, and then down to 4th and 3rd frets like this. So in total. Then we'll go back up to 5th frets like this, hit it and slide up to 7th, hit it again and slide down to 5th, and then go to 4th and 3rd. So all of that in total. Then we'll go to this shape here, so bar the 5th fret of the 4th and 3rd strings with the index, and ring fingers on the 7th fret of the 5th string. Hold that, and then take your pinky finger, put it on the 8th fret of the 2nd string, and then we're going to pluck 4 notes here, so 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 1st. And that ends the 3rd verse, which sounds like this all together. Then for the outro, we'll do something similar to the solo section where we're just going to play the G chord and then the C chord. again and again till this song fades out. So that's all the rhythm guitar for this song. So now I'm going to show you how to play all the lead guitar parts, starting with the intro lead riff. Now the notes themselves are pretty simple, but the tricky part is getting the bends right. John Mayer actually likes playing this with his fingers. Now you can play it with a pick if you want to, but if you play with your fingers, it gives a slightly more mellow tone to the guitar sound. So I'm going to use my thumb to hit the 3rd string, and I'm going to use my index finger to hit the 2nd string. For our first phrase, we'll slide into the 9th fret of the 3rd string with our middle finger, like that. And then we'll hit the 8th fret of the 2nd string twice. And then we'll hit the 10th fret, but we're going to bend it up, then release it, and then bend it back up. So this is where the tricky part comes in. Now we're going to bend this 10th fret up to a pitch that's equivalent to the 12th fret. So a little exercise you can do to practice this bending and your bending in general is to just hit the note that you're trying to bend up to as a reference point, and then go back to the note that you're going to bend and try to match them. Now, sometimes you might go a little sharper, sometimes you might go a little flatter, but the more you practice this, the easier it will become, and you'll get a better feel for where that sweet spot is to get the right pitch. So back to that note, we're going to bend up, release, and bend back up. Bend up, release, and back up. Now, one thing I do with my picking hand to reduce the amount of noise that's going on is I actually rest my thumb on this 3rd string whilst I'm bending. It just reduces the amount of string noise going on. So I'll pluck with my index finger, but have my thumb sitting on this 3rd string so that it doesn't make any sound. The other tip when bending as well is to use your middle finger and even your index finger if you want to assist with the bend. If you bend with just the ring finger itself, it's going to be really tricky. So use the same amount of force on the middle finger as the ring finger here. So you're sharing the load between at least these 2 fingers. And the first phrase in total. Now for the second phrase, our first 3 plucks are the same. We're going to go to the 10th fret, bend this up twice, and then hit the regular 10th fret 2 more times. So the second phrase. The third phrase is identical to the first phrase, so we've already learnt that. And then for the 4th phrase, we start with the same 3 notes. And then we're going to bend this 10th fret up twice. And then we go down to the 8th fret twice. And then there's 2 quick notes to end this. It's the 9th fret of the 3rd string and then 10th fret of the 2nd string. So the final phrase. Okay, next we get to the guitar solo, which has 3 lines of tab. There's a lot of sliding involved here and some tricky bends, but let's just take it slow. So we're going to hit the 10th fret of the 2nd string, hammer onto the 12th with your ring, and then slide up to the 12th fret. So you've only plucked that once, but you hammer on and slide all in the one motion. Then we'll go back down, hit the 12th fret, pull off to 10th, and hammer back on to 12th. So, and that first phrase in total. Then for our next phrase, we'll start off with something similar. So hit the 10th fret, hammer on to 12th, but slide up to 17th. Then we'll go down to 15th, hit that, pull off to 12th fret, and slide down to 10th. Then you'll hit the 12th fret and slide down to 8th. So that second phrase. And the first line of tab in total. For the second line of tab, we'll go up to 15th fret, hit that, 17th, and then 19th fret of the first string. So those 3 notes. Then we'll do the exact same thing, except instead of going to 19th, we'll go to 17th fret of the first string. And then we'll hit those notes again, but all in a row this time, and so far. And then we're going to hit 15th, 17th of the second string, go up to the 19th fret of the first string, hit that, bend it up and release it twice, and then slide down to 15th. So that's gonna be a little bit tricky, but remember, you're bending it up and releasing twice, and then sliding down to 15th. Like that. And one more time. Then we're gonna go to the 15th fret of the second string and do something similar. So we're gonna hit that and bend up and release twice, and then slide down to 12th, which sounds like this. And that final phrase. And in total for the second line of the solo. Then for the final line of tab, we'll hit the 10th fret and hammer onto the 12th. And then go up to 15th and hammer onto 17th. And then go down to 10th fret. So. And then we'll hit the 8th fret and slide up to 15th. And then end this solo on the 13th fret. So that final line of tab. And the solo in total. And those are all the parts you need to learn for the studio version of Gravity by John Mayer. So now I'll be doing a full playthrough of the song, and I'll have a vocal track on top for some context. Big thanks to my friend Eric for lending his awesome vocals to this playthrough. Feel free to play this back as many times as you'd like to practice, play along to, and see how you go.
Come on, keep me where the light is.
Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this lesson, then I know you'll absolutely love these other lessons too. So hit the link here. Or if you want to grab a copy of my free guitar ebook, then head over to guitarzerotohero.com or click the link here. Thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time on Guitar Zero to Hero. Cheers.